De-hypnotize humanity from a collective fear and anxiety-induced trance with Zhanna Bright. This is episode 146 on Alternative Health Tools Podcast, where together we discover and share new alternative health tools and resources from alternative healthcare practitioners and experts.
Hi, welcome to Alternative Health Tools. This is your co-host Kim Shea from this side of the pond. Today is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, and today I get to speak with Zhanna Bright. She is a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and she is helping people rewrite their limiting belief systems, resolve trauma, and become congruent with their soul's desire. And she does this through hypno-coaching, wellness education, self-awareness exercises, and breath work. And she's got a very interesting story about herself and how she's come to be where she is. And I'm looking forward to sharing everything with you, as well as how she can help you out and what she knows. She seems to know a lot. So welcome, Zhanna, to the podcast.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for having me here. And hi, everyone who's listening right now. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Would you tell us about yourself and how you got to where you are doing what you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a long story, of course, but I will do my best to make it short and sweet. My practice, what I do today, basically was born out of many years of healing myself and doing all the unpleasant things that were unpleasant at first. Now I can only be grateful for all of that time. Healing trauma. I was born in former Soviet Union, which is now Russia, in very, very bad times. If we think about Russia and Soviet and the socialist regime, that was my childhood, basically. Scarcity, lots of trauma, people were stressed out, people were angry, lots of fear in the air. So that's what I absorbed living in that environment. And on top of that, family, dysfunctional family patterns, divorce, abuse, all kinds of things. That, of course, I didn't know that it would affect me in the long term that much. I didn't know back then. I was just a child and then a teenager, acting out my anger and all that I stored within my mind and body as trauma. And later, I always had that urge, and I always knew that I would be living somewhere else, because I truly didn't see myself staying there. And now Russia nowadays is such a different country, right? I haven't been there in 11 years, but I know that it's different from what it used to be. Yet the mentality wasn't a good fit for me. I craved something more. I craved more experiences, more places, more something greater than where I come from. So later I managed to just set myself on a sort of a journey and moved to Thailand. And I found a job and started working in travel business, and it was fun and it was great. It was so colorful compared to a gray environment where I came from, Russia, and winter, and it's not many months when we had green outside, and now I'm in tropical climate, enjoying myself and beautiful life. Yet, no matter how many places, and I lived in total in 5 different countries so far, no matter where I would find myself, in what beautiful place I would move to, I would still have that something inside of me that would be so unsettled so sad, so depressed, and this abandonment, fear of abandonment, or this heaviness of abandonment would be sort of like I would be dragging it with me. You can't really run away from yourself, right? Anywhere you go, no matter how beautiful that place will be, you are you. Or at least,
that's a good point.
At least you are you until you realize that it's not really who you are. And the real you is hiding and sort of sleeping underneath all of the layers of fear and trauma and all kinds of things and experiences that you've been through in this lifetime, as well as the layers of trauma and experiences from other lifetimes. It's also something that I do, past life regression, learned from that point and perspective, and the heaviness of karma as well. Karma, individual or ancestral or intergenerational, if you may say so. I am very grateful for my journey, and I'm very happy and content with my life right now here in California. And again, no matter where I found myself, I felt this heaviness, and sort of trying to force myself to be someone who I am not, trying to fit in and trying to be so joyful and happy and enjoy the experiences. But at the end of the day, I would come home and I would feel empty. I would feel that something was missing, fundamentally missing. No relationship could fill that void. No material things, no income, no money, a level of income. And then slowly I began to kind of lose it in a way that I would overreact to situations. I would go into a panic attack. I would suffer from anxiety, or I would suffer from freeze as well, fight, flight, and freeze, right? I would freeze in front of things that would give me the most growth. Right now we are talking on this podcast, and I don't know, 10 years ago it wouldn't be possible for me to just talk like this and sharing about myself, sharing a story without freezing, without being completely speechless, or not even wanting to do this because of that fear, that fundamental unconscious fear that was there. So all of those obstacles that showed up in life later as I was trying to to create my own space and my own life and my own little world. And when we take on a little more out of our comfort zone, that's when life starts to show us where we need to look, right? If it was public speaking, or if it was a desire to deepen a relationship, a love relationship, but there was a conflict and I didn't know how to deal with conflict. I didn't know how to create deeper, lasting relationship with someone I loved, and I would sabotage success on personal and professional level, right? And I would just start being so angry with myself and literally hating myself for all of that. And I knew that consciously, I knew that I am capable of so much more, and I do have the desire for that, and I do know that there is potential that I haven't tapped into. Yet something much heavier, much deeper was pulling me back every time. I would take one step forward, 5 steps backwards, right? And out of that sort of an internal fight, internal battle, I started looking. I started searching why, what's going on with me. And of course, it didn't come about overnight. It was a journey, many years of healing, a lot of times there was a lot of confusion as well, because when we start looking and we realize that, okay, so something is happening that I can't deal with this by myself. I need help. So we begin to reach out for help. And at first, there are so many options, right? There are so many options. And I've been quite a spiritual person since the beginning, since I was a child, but in my own way, not in a, religion or praying to some beings or something external, but I knew that there is something greater than me, and I was connected to it. Mostly to nature, by the way. Since I was a child, I would find myself playing in nature and just exploring the patterns of nature, of the leaves, and connecting and understanding that. Of course, to a degree as a child, but intuitively connecting to that without using the analytical, rational mind. And so I think naturally I was drawn to that type of perhaps understanding of myself. And I just found people that were promoting, spirituality in the New Age spirituality, right? Which I found very, very confusing. But I have spent time with it, and unfortunately my experience wasn't good. I don't know, I cannot speak for everyone, but in my opinion, that there is a lot of negativity and darkness in that way of promotion of spirituality, so to speak. Anyways, after that period of confusion, being with New Age spirituality and seeking and searching light without exploring your own darkness, didn't really bring much of a positive outcome into my life, and so I pulled away from that, and I dove into myself. I realized, okay, there is also a dark part of me, right? I don't want to say evil; it's not necessarily the case, but a negative, a dark part, right? The fears, the desires that are not always the best desires, but we all do have them. We are all combined of both, the darkness and the light. So by rejecting or running away from that darkness is basically we are running away from wholeness more and more. By chasing light, we refuse to see another 50% of who we are, right? So I started exploring that, and I started exploring my shadow traits, my negative character traits, my negativity, my thoughts that were also driving and co-creating my reality. And the resistance in me, the resistance to everything that wasn't, so to speak, light, so to speak, very, very positive. And life usually, when we begin to resist something, unconscious mind or subconscious mind, by the way, fascinates me on a daily basis, brings to our attention the situations, the people, and their specific behaviors that scream into our face for attention. Someone who irritates us the most is teaching us the most valuable lesson in life. So, but to understand how we can look and see the connection within ourselves, within our own trait, character trait, let's say, or a fear or a desire or trauma, and find that correlation to this person's behavior that is constantly annoying us and just irritating the hell out of us, it takes some time, it takes some skill to begin to realize that. It's not so straightforward. Let's say if this person is angry and they constantly, getting angry at you, it doesn't mean that you are an angry person. It only means that you need to understand and decode that behavior towards you and see it as an opportunity for growth within yourself. Right? It is a process, so we're not going to go into it right now. It's just not the right time. However, when we begin to see those things, to see negativity and sort of flip it to our benefit, that's when truly becoming whole starts taking place. Well, at least I can only speak for myself, of course. Yes, so what was the question now?
You were telling me about yourself,
yes,
but I mean, that's those perspectives are really interesting. I have a lot of respect for those.
Thank you. And so yes, I began just exploring myself in that other 50% that I've been neglecting and rejecting for so long. And it's easy to think love and light, right? To chase love and light. It's so easy. But is it productive? Is it productive? Is it deep enough? Right? It is easy to escape, to bypass the fundamentals, the core of your today's issues and challenges by chasing the love and light, right? But is it going to work? As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, and from my practice, from experience, my personal experience, and actually working with other people as well. So yes, now. How did I come to become a hypnotherapist? Is that I became fascinated with this notion of something deeper, the deeper mind, the ocean, the iceberg, right? The bottom of the iceberg that literally drives our lives on autopilot, unless we want to interfere with that trajectory, that life blueprint that was already formed in the first few years of our life. It is the most fascinating thing when I explain to my clients when they first come to the office, and I explain to them that your basically your life blueprint, everything that you are today, fundamentally was formed in the first few years of your life. And I explain to them on a visual little image that I draw for them, and I explain the connection between conscious and the subconscious. So yes, I became fascinated by it, and all healing basically happens at the unconscious level, right? In a different brainwave state. Right now we are talking, we are focused on each other, we are present in the moment, we are functioning at a beta brainwave state, fully alert and awake. Then if we are more relaxed and begin to close our eyes and just go within ourselves, or about to fall asleep, we are transitioning into an alpha brainwave state, more relaxed and beginning, sort of like the beginning of opening of the subconscious mind. It's not always available to us. It's not always available to us. But with practice and with an altered state of mind, we can begin to sort of grasp the notion of the subconscious and begin to talk to the subconscious, begin to rewire those things, those stories that it recorded, not just in this lifetime, but the subconscious doesn't have an understanding of the past, present, and future. Everything happens at the same time for the subconscious mind. So it is important, for example, I don't know, if little Sarah was crying when she was 5 because she didn't get a bicycle, that she wanted in the store, right? The subconscious mind is still running that story, still running that program in Sarah's mind. But today she's, let's say, 35 and she wants something else in her life. But that belief, that fear and disappointment and belief was already formed when she was 5, right?
See.
And
okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and as we grow, those beliefs and fears become sort of like a snowball. They become bigger and bigger, and they manifest themselves in a different, in a different way in life, right? There are many examples, but they do. Whatever happened to us at the time, we don't even remember what happened, right? Who remembers themselves fully at the age of 2, 3, or 4? No one. Well, unless it's just such an isolated image or a feeling, right, in memory. But normally people don't have that immediate memory of themselves. Yet those things, exactly those things that formed who we are today and what we can and what we cannot do, what we believe and what we don't believe about ourselves and about this world and our abilities. So yes, I became fascinated with this understanding of the subconscious mind, if you may say so, understanding, because it's so big, it's so vast and so powerful, so infinite that I don't think a lifetime is enough to really understand that. However, we can begin to befriend the unconscious and make it a best friend that actually works with us, not against us, based on the outdated programming and conditioning. Yeah, it is possible. To understand fully, probably not, because it's so complex. It's so complex. But for the sake of this life, for the sake of fulfillment, being human in our family, love, relationship, professional relationships, we can access the resources that the subconscious mind holds. And they're protected, right? They're protected. That's why through hypnosis, and again, there's no one way to skin a cat, but because I'm a hypnotherapist, I use hypnosis or a hypnotic state to access those resources and to bring about that potential in someone. Of course, first I had to do that for myself. I believe in walking your talk, right? Not just learning a skill and then applying it to other people, but again, like I said, my story is that I've gone through so many things in terms of modalities, healing modalities, and somehow I chose hypnotherapy as a profession because it finally brought together that rational understanding, that thinking mind, and something within that knows, something intuitive, something that we can't really grasp, but it's just there, this vast, infinite ocean of knowledge, of wisdom. And it brought a lot of clarity as well. Like I said, many spiritual beliefs, teachings brought more confusion into my life. I would begin to lose myself in that instead of becoming more clear. And through hypnotherapy, through connecting with myself first, not with some other being outside of myself, I began to see myself and things and the life with more clarity.
Okay, that's interesting how you came through that whole journey. You refer on your website to the fact that you were born an indigo child. Can you explain that term?
Yes, as much as I can. Again, I was born I was a very weird child. So weird. I was mostly kind of isolating myself because I could just sense people so much around me. I would tell my mom always, I don't like this friend of yours. Like, I don't want to go to their house. And she would, of course, dismiss it because, you know what, who takes this seriously? Just a kid doesn't want to do things, right? But then, sure enough, after a few years or even months, that person would hurt my mom in some way or do some mean things, right? So, and the more I felt that from people, I would literally sort of like scan them. They would walk into our house for the first time and I would already feel their energy, feel what they're afraid of, feel what they feel, right? Whether it was physical pain or something going on with their mind. And I would start, and again, I was very reserved. I was very shy and I was kind of isolating mostly because of that, because of all these feelings that I didn't want to take on. Being in the room full of people, I would sense all of them and I would start feeling that in my body. I would start tensing up and feeling uncomfortable. So I found myself being and feeling better by myself than around other people. Now I could just, like I told you before, sit in nature for hours and look into the patterns of nature and sort of trying to, I think, I like to say that children are closer to God and they still have the memory from beyond the physical realm. And then, of course, as they grow, they go through indoctrination and the conditioning and all of that, and the memory fades away. But in the beginning, some of us still remember that connection. So I remember sitting, that was in my, I would go every summer, I would go to my grandma's around Siberia region, and I would be sitting out there in the field of flowers and grass and things, and I would be looking at the sky and the clouds, and I'd be asking something. I don't even know what I was asking. I didn't know the word God, or I didn't know anything about that back then. I was just a child. But I would be asking, why am I here again? Sort of in my child fashion,
Wow.
Yeah, why am I here again? And that question I've been having for many, many years, decades now. Not that I haven't found the answer. I have, but it was driving me for many, many years. Yeah, and now I've made peace with that answer, finally, and definitely it's much more peaceful to live that way when you are content with that answer, because I know many people begin to ask themselves that question: who am I and why am I here, right? And it's so unsettling when you don't understand. I've been through many years of that. But Indigo Child, I think Indigo Child, again, in those years when I was born, there was a huge wave of us coming to Earth. And there are many types of children that come to Earth at sort of like in waves. That was the wave of indigo children, sort of trailblazers for children that are more advanced now on Earth. There are rainbow children, there are crystal children, there are multiple different hybrid children as well, that bring, it's basically a code in the DNA, a crystalline code that they bring with themselves I believe for me, how this aspect of being an indigo child, which I found out, of course, years later, I didn't know from the beginning. I just knew that I was a little weird. That's all I knew. But for me, what it meant is that hypersensitivity to everything and everyone around, and sort of being kind of in constant sort of a meditative state. Well, all children up until 11, 12 years old, they live in an alpha brainwave state for the most part, which is a light hypnotic or meditative state. But even more so, I would find myself being sort of like kind of floating in the moment, if that makes sense. So while most other children at the playground would be playing and screaming and running around, jumping, I would be just staring at something and thinking something completely different. Yeah, or looking at the tree and looking so deeply into the trunk of the tree or the leaves or the way they moved. I mean, while all other children have been so engaged in the game right around. So yes, to answer your question about indigo, I think probably every indigo child is unique in their own way, depending on their soul blueprint and on their experiences, on the maturity of the soul, the DNA, the ancestral history, and their personal history. All those aspects play a huge role. But for me, it manifested as being extra sensitive, and to a point that I didn't want to see being around people most of the time. Yeah, if that answers your question.
That's interesting. Okay. It's interesting, too, that you had a sense that you'd been here before when you were so little. That's really interesting. Yeah.
From the beginning.
Well, so you do past life regression therapy, which I'm presuming you've tried yourself since you said you like to walk the talk. So what is the value of that? I've done it before, and it's just a wonderful experience. But what is the value of it for people, for your clients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question. So past life regression, I like to say that it's not a cure. Yeah. Nothing really is a cure. It's rather a building block in a healing process. The value of a past life regression is how I see it and what I see from the experience of countless people that come to the sessions, is that greater realization, understanding. Again, now let me speak to your question in terms of the earthly incarnations, because we have been multiple things and beings beyond earthly plane. But let me, so that it makes sense to everyone who's listening, can relate to it. Now, the heaviest and the darkest sort of part in the subconscious memory of any lifetime is regret. Is those things that we think on our deathbed or in that moment when a human life ends, and it goes so quickly. It's sort of like a movie in front of you. It's like, oh God, I've lived this, I've done that, and then I haven't done what I could have. And that last thought, when a person transitions, and I hear and I experience it in every session pretty much, when a person realizes at the time of death that they have regrets, they didn't do the things that they could have done in this life, and those regrets are so heavy that the soul and the subconscious mind begin to drag them with themselves into the next incarnation. So it can be released, that burden, that heaviness, in a past life regression. Fears, let's say, or phobias rather, because fear is something rational, right? Phobia is something that God knows where it came from. Those things might have formed in a different lifetime and stored in the subconscious memory. And today, this person is having such a hard time to live in the present and doesn't understand what is going on, right? They've done therapy, they've talked about it, they I don't know, did multiple things, breathing exercises, this, that, yoga, whatever they did, didn't work, right? Because it was formed in a completely different lifetime. Now, I'm not saying that it is okay to escape the present moment and to go into a different lifetime that you might have lived to resolve all of your problems. That's not necessarily true. Only when you've exhausted all of the resources in terms of healing, in terms of going deeper into yourself, in terms of evolution, personal evolution, right, in this lifetime, and there's something still there, sort of like this notion of like being incomplete, something that is still in the way of the real you, of becoming the real you, becoming and embodying the real you, without fear, without obstacles, without barriers, either to love barriers, right, or to expressing yourself creatively and professionally. If that is still there, then it is a good opportunity to explore other lifetimes and to see what they're holding. Now, another good value also over past life regression and healing a different lifetime and being also in a space between lifetimes, right, is quantum healing, right? Quantum healing on a soul level. That of course manifests in the physical as well. Also accessing your higher or deeper, so to speak, knowing, your intuition, and allowing and giving permission to the thinking monkey mind to shut up for a little bit and just access that part of you that simply knows. Truth doesn't have to be loud. Truth doesn't have to scream at you. It only whispers. But the mind is so loud, right, that we can't really bypass that stage of being distracted by it. So in a past life regression, it's a very deep and a very long and beautiful session. There's a lot of release that happens there, and so much wisdom that flows into the person that is experiencing. Also a wisdom of realization and wisdom of how they see themselves in the current life. Because a lot of times, whatever the challenge is today, the subconscious mind will take the person into a lifetime that was a very similar lifetime to what they're living today. Earth is sort of like I see it as a school with a specific curriculum. Each person has their own curriculum. And for example, if we don't learn the lesson in this lifetime, this curriculum will be transferred into the next, right? And when they saw that, oh, they've already made that mistake in the past, and they're right in the process right now about to make the same mistake today, that gives them aha moment. Oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? No. My career is not more important than my relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know why it came to me, but a lot of people realize that. People that dive into their career, dive into which is an amazing thing, right? You do need to have something going on for your self-expression and things like that. But when your family and your love relationship suffers from it, that's not a good thing. So, or this, quite a few people I've had also that said, no, I only want to focus on my career. I don't need a family. Because the relationship brings me hurt, pain, and trouble, right? And when they go into a different lifetime, where they were lonely, alone, and died alone, and that brought such a huge understanding and such an emotional also relief when they saw themselves dying by themselves, basically, without being surrounded by the loved ones, by at least one person who loved them. Yet they've accomplished everything in their career, right? But career doesn't hug you and doesn't nurture you at the end of the day. So yes, those things, those huge realizations. Change of perspective. It's all this life, it's all a perspective, literally a shift in perspective. Yeah, and sometimes that shift takes, sort of like it's quicker, and sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it takes years to shift the perspective, to realize deeply within yourself what's true, what's not true, what's important, what's not, what's priority, and what is secondary. So healing on a quantum level, on the emotional level, on a mental level, it's just a beautiful experience.
Well, it sounds very profound, and it makes sense what you're saying, that it could take a long time, simply because it took a long time to get this way, to many lifetimes, or even a long life this time around,
yes,
to cause a lot of harm to you. So
absolutely,
that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely.
It's interesting. Can you address, like with hypnosis, I know some people are very uncomfortable with it, it scares them, how people know they're not, for in this country at least, hypnosis is oftentimes people will see people up on a stage being hypnotized and acting like a chicken and doing silly things and feeling like they have lost control. And so it frightens them to do hypnosis because they're afraid that they're going to be doing something they don't want to do under your control. Can you address that?
Yes, totally. Yeah, this, right, the chickens and all of those. Yes, well, let me start with explaining what hypnosis is and what it is not. Hypnosis is a very, very natural state of mind, first of all. We go in and out of hypnosis every single day, all day long. Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever missed an exit on the freeway?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Environmental hypnosis, right. We are so used to driving a car that we do it unconsciously. We allow and give permission to our unconscious mind to drive the car for us. So we don't have to think about it, right? We don't have to, really be so present. Yeah, of course we are to a degree, but then a big part of the mind has an opportunity to think about something else and to drift away. Yeah, from the process of driving. You're thinking about your next podcast when you're driving on the freeway, who you're going to be interviewing. I'm thinking about my clients or my personal life, right? And boom, you missed an exit. Environmental hypnosis. Okay, social media. Pretty much the majority of people now, or at least on one platform, on social media, a lot of people are addicted unknowingly to social media, right? You go, oh, let me check my Facebook for 5 minutes. Yeah. 1 hour later, you're still scrolling, right? Goodness gracious, so many news, I have read all of those things that my friends posted. I've seen all of those memes and watched all the videos. Everything is great. 1 hour later, right? You are in hypnosis, and What it means when we are in hypnosis, our mind is open to suggestions, to new suggestions. And what goes into your mind at that time, in those moments, is so, so important, okay? Just like the time right before you go to bed, 30 minutes within falling asleep, you are in a light state of hypnosis, believe it or not. 30 minutes after waking up, you are in a light state of hypnosis. So usually what I recommend and suggest to my clients and friends, be so careful as if your life depended on this. What goes into your mind right before bed and right after you wake up. Because you are programming yourself. Like a Pavlov's dog, right?
Yes, yeah.
Remember that experiment? Yeah, how he conditioned those dogs to salivate at when the bell rings and the food arrives, things like that. We are not much different. Okay, we condition ourselves on top of what we were conditioned for in the first few years of life. We continue conditioning ourselves every day. TV is your hypnosis. That's your major stage hypnosis is TV. TV makes you feel, act, and behave and desire things that they want you to, right? It is a massive mind control. It is a massive collective hypnosis. Everyone is collectively hypnotized by TV. Those who watch TV, right? Those who don't, thank you, right? So hypnosis is a very natural state. It's a heightened state of awareness, right? When we're relaxed and sort of, okay, let me just in my bed, about to go to sleep, let me check my Facebook, right? Or let me go on Instagram or YouTube and see what's going on so that I can, slowly transition into a sleeping mode, right? Be so careful, extremely careful what goes into your mind at that time, because that becomes your new reality, your new identity. And slowly, day after day after day after day, you've been conditioned, right, to something different, to believe something different, to think something different. Yeah. Now, stage hypnosis. What it is? First of all, it is entertainment, right? It is a show. I have friends from my hypnotherapy school that do stage hypnosis and do hypnotherapy as well. So stage hypnosis is mostly they do for a show, right? Entertainment, for fun, and it's kind of cool and kind of magical, right? To see people dropping dead on the stage or something, or dancing, or whatever they have them do. In hypnotherapy, the key word is therapy, right? Hypnosis, hypnotic state in hypnotherapy is very relaxing. It's very pleasant. Usually people don't want to get out of it because it feels good. Because they're like, finally I get to just let go, relax, and you're telling me all of this beautiful, form these beautiful images within my mind, and it's just so good. And then, boom, I just change somehow.
Yeah.
Right? So the subconscious mind understands in images and symbols. That's the language of the subconscious. And the more of the symbolic language and imagery we can feed to the subconscious mind, the more effective the therapy is, hypnotherapy is. So you're not stuck in hypnosis. You cannot be, right? You're fully in control. In fact, people don't come to hypnotherapy to lose control. They come to hypnosis and hypnotherapy to gain more control over their lives, over their habits, or release fears, whatever it is, right? That they would like to achieve through therapy. They gain more control over that. Like I like to say also, we're not in control of anything pretty much in this life. The only control that we can attempt to achieve is the control over our thoughts. That is the hardest thing that we can do, because thoughts are being controlled by the belief systems that we formed a long time ago, and that is sealed in the subconscious memory. So when we begin to rewire the belief systems, only then we can begin to change our thought process. Because thought is by itself is not original. It's very secondary. Okay? It's secondary. Thoughts can only be changed when the deeper knowing in the subconscious memory has been changed. That's when we can begin to rewire our thinking. Yeah, that's what is missing in the, what is that book?
Yes.
The Secret?
The Secret.
Secret, I think, yeah. Right, I think they were saying like how you change your thoughts and you change your life. It is true, but they missed a very big part of it, is that you can't change your thoughts by themselves, because they're not original. The beliefs were original, and they are sort of controlling the thoughts, right? So that's the only control we can possibly attempt to achieve in life, right? Everything else is really it's a manifestation of the internal state that we are in. And of course, karmically, right? Karmically, what we came here to learn, what we came here to overcome. Did you come here to just do do this journey for yourself, or you came here to do the journey for your entire lineage, ancestors? Yeah, in those cases, it is much harder to heal. It's much harder to release, because the burden is much heavier. Responsibility is much heavier. Yeah, so hypnosis is, for me, it's sort of a, first of all, it's a tool, of course, but second, it's such a pleasant state. It's such a pleasant state. It's similar to meditation. Do you meditate yourself? Yeah, you do. So does it feel good to meditate?
Yeah. And hypnosis feels good
it's
too.
Relaxing, right? Yeah.
I have had it done, with somebody guiding me into it, and it is a very pleasant, as you described it, where you just feel this release of everything, your stress, everything goes away, and you're just able to focus on what you're there to learn or to explore. It's a lovely place of being. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a lovely place. Yeah. And I believe it is important to, if someone has never done hypnosis or meditation, to understand that, right? You cannot possibly be stuck in hypnosis. You are in full control of the session. You can open your eyes. You can, you can scratch your head. You can move your arms. You can do whatever you want, right? You can open your eyes and say, yeah, I need to use the bathroom now. And you're free to do that. You're not stuck. You can still move. Yet, while you are in that altered state of mind, you have an opportunity to access a deeper mind, right? A deeper part of the mind that has the answers, that can change, that is possible to sort of become friends with. Before, maybe it didn't know that you want different things in life, right? But it was just running this autopilot program for you. And now you stepped in and you're like, hey, hello, I would like something better for myself. I think I deserve better, right? But you keep giving me this crappy things in life, right? So I do believe that it is an effective tool, and I see that. Of course, change, a lasting change, needs to happen in the subconscious and needs to be maintained also consciously. The more of the subconscious and unconscious we begin to explore within ourselves, the more we make it conscious and the more full and whole we become, right? With that knowledge of ourselves, just sort of bringing it from within and into the outer wake life, right? So that we can utilize all of our resources, not just the surface of it, right? The subconscious is over 90% of the total mind power. That's what the subconscious is, right? In some books, maybe, or articles, you will hear even 99%. I like to give a little bit more hope and say that it's 90%. Of course, there is no correct way to measure that. Something that is completely sort of something that we can't really grasp, right? And the conscious mind, the monkey mind, that is right, the chatter, analytical, logical. So, even the willpower is driven by the conscious mind, not the subconscious. That's why the New Year's resolutions never really work, right? Not more than for a week or so. People start running on the streets and like, yeah, I'm going to get into the best shape of my life and I'm going to be the healthiest version of myself this year. This is it. 2 weeks later, boom, back to normal. Because the subconscious was not engaged in the process. Only the willpower, the conscious mind, the analytical and logical, rational mind was engaged, which is not an equal battle. It's not an equal battle.
Yeah, that makes sense. So tell me about your practice, Zhanna, and where do people need to see you in person? Can they work with you virtually in any way? But tell us how people can get the soul congruency through you, how they can be connected to you.
Yeah, sure. Well, my practice, the physical office is, excuse me, located in Encinitas in Southern California, where I am right now in my office. And I do see people from all states and multiple countries virtually as well. My personal preference is in person, of course, if it's possible. It is always so much more intimate, so much more connected than over a screen and technology. It does work virtually. I just feel more connected when I feel the energy in the room, right? However, hypnosis, hypnotic state, hypnotherapy happens in the mind, right? The mind is omnipresent, is everywhere. So whether I'm guiding you from the screen or I'm guiding you right next to you in the room, it works equally, pretty much. Now my website is soulcongruency.com. I offer free consultation to anyone basically that wants to learn more about hypnotherapy, hypnosis, myself, or tell me about what they struggle with, and I'm happy to take that time and provide guidance. Now I specialize in helping young men and women attracting that mate for their soul, as you will, and removing all the barriers within themselves that are preventing them from creating a beautiful, lasting, loving, and intimate, deep relationship with someone really special. Not just sort of a image special, but a soul kind of special, a soul connection. Especially these days, right? We are going through a time of such separation, right? Separation with technology and with beliefs also. In the society, there is a split right now, labeling, categorizing, and so I'd like to see beyond that, and I'd like to for everyone to experience that soul connection, very intimate and deep, beautiful relationship. That's what I specialize in. How to remove the barriers, how to attract that person easily and effortlessly in your life. I'm not a matchmaker, of course, but how to make it so natural for you in your life to just meet that person, to connect with that person, and how to keep that connection alive and grow together in interpersonal relationship, right? I also help people with anxieties, panic attacks, fears, anything that is holding them back from realizing their full potential, whether it's their personal life or professional life. Relationships, anxiety, depression, fears, phobias, all of those things, definitely.
Wow, that's nice. So I'd like to thank you for coming on today. I learned so much from you, and you've inspired me to remember some things that I'd forgotten. So I want to thank you for your time. And for those of you who'd like to contact Zhanna Bright, again, her website is soulcongruency.com. We will have the link in the show notes so that you can go find it there in case you can't remember at any time. And then you can contact her directly on her website. It's a very nice website and very easy to navigate, and you'll find everything you're looking for if you go there. So thank you, Zhanna, for your time today.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure speaking to your audience and to you, connecting with you. And thank you for guiding me in this conversation.
Thanks. It was an honor.